Should I have revealed that you are the guy who drives the most subscriptions? I feel like I should have I should have kept that one under my hat. And it's a little strange to reveal that you are the guy that people want to sub to. And what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on you and your popularity, Bomani?
Well, I think what you are describing there, I think that was a very important thing, which is I don't really inspire but so much ambivalence. Which I find to be odd because I think I'm a pretty measured fellow when it really comes down to it. Like I don't really think I'm that incendiary or inflammatory or fiery with my rhetoric. That's just the way that I see it. But I'm probably going to be a person that if you fuck with me, you fuck with me heavy. And if you don't, like, there's no difference between people who don't care about you and people who hate you, in effect, in this business. Like, people operate on the assumption that as long as somebody's talking about you, it's all a win. And that's not really it. Because what we got, at least in the current time, is a lot of people who know how to get folks to talk about them, but can't get people, I mean, I don't mean to sound too crass or cynical about this, but can't get people to spend any money. So if they had to sell any tickets or something for the product that they offer, they can't get anybody to do that. Those are the people that kind of struggle to survive in this. Like, what I do think is important for anybody, especially if you're trying to operate on any level of like an independent platform or whatever, you're going to have to be able to sell stuff along with whatever your existence is. Like, you can't just have social accounts with a bunch of people that follow them, because it costs nothing to follow somebody. Like, all these people found this out when they tried to book all these concerts for these people that had these massive social media followers, and they couldn't sell any fucking tickets because they didn't have anything that anybody like really wanted to rock with or pay for. So I did appreciate you reminding some people who, I mean, honestly, listen to the word of bad faith actors, and just to simply remind them that no, actually, there's a non-insignificant amount of people who care about what I say and are willing to invest in it to hear it because I believe it. This is me, perhaps assuming too much. I believe they appreciate the respect that I have for the people who listen to what I say, and that if you demonstrate that you respect them in that way with your takes and the way that you comport yourself, then yeah, people will consume your content in a regular way as opposed to just every now and then.
Yeah, and it does superficially look like all the same thing, which is why it's an interesting topic to me. Your popularity, your renown looks exactly the same superficially to somebody who cannot drive subscriptions, who cannot compel payment. And it's a funny thing. I put it out there because, well, there were a few things happening. People were debating your value, and I felt a certain strange, like, ethical responsibility to say, because I had this, not dramatic irony, but I had this knowledge that, hey, this guy, I mean, people want to hear from this guy. And I felt as though it was worth saying so and demonstrating. But it also, to me, felt like a good topic for my website, because it is a strange time that we live in where someone who, like, they look like they have equivalent popularity, but one person's popularity might be a mile wide and an inch deep versus another person where it's actually quite deep. And in this new media ecosystem, which can be more subscription driven, I mean, that's not an insignificant difference. It matters.
Yeah, and I think, like, if I were to look at my path on this, and I don't know if I would say if I found anything that could be illustrative or that's something somebody else can pick up from, is that I had started doing a lot of what I would call this branding on my own for more than 5, probably fewer than 10 years before the social media machine really started humming. Because I look at like the year 2009 as the year that Twitter really like turned into a thing, and people really started using it to push the stuff they were doing, and it started to take the form that it exists now. You went past the early adopters, right? And then that was the year where I felt like everybody else showed up to the party, and then it kind of formed into what it is. But up until that point, like, I'd been running websites and emailing links to people and all of this. And I was developing a brand that was a very intimate one. Like, I knew the people who followed me closely before, call it 2010 or 2011, a lot of them feel like they know me, and a lot of that lot actually does, right? Like, it was small enough that I knew those people. Like, you look at somebody like Jim Rome, who was a great example. Jim Rome got it by having a very intimate relationship with his audience, and he developed that intimacy on the road, really, by traveling, going to the cities where those people were. And so like when he goes to, like, if you talk to him about it, like the cities that really got on board with him early, Houston being a great example. He's going to Houston, and I guarantee you a significant number of people that'll show up at a Jim Rome event in Houston, he actually knows those people. And so once you do that, you can talk to the people that you are communicating with a greater intimacy. And then all the new people who show up hear you speaking with this intimacy, and then they kind of feel that sort of relationship, and it goes from there. And so the number of people that follow me on whatever the thing is doesn't really matter. Like I just looked up and I think like 100,000 people follow me on Instagram now. That's not an intimate audience, right? I got, I guess now it's like 570 something thousand people follow me on Twitter. That number has basically been static now for years. But I always made the point that my Twitter follower number was higher than it meant more than the average person's, because I was asking so much of my Twitter followers, especially years ago when I would bombard them with content. If you decided you wanted to stick around under that storm of shit that I was sending out, then you really, really cared, right? That means something different than the million followers insert like singer here has on Twitter, where they don't actually send out any content. It's not costing you anything. You just follow them, or somebody who just puts up cute pictures, right? And so he or she puts up cute pictures. You follow because you like to have cute pictures in your timeline, but that don't mean you're gonna spend no money on it. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't imply that you're really invested in whoever that person is. And so I've been lucky in the way that I've done this, that I've got a very loyal set of people who primarily consume the stuff I do. And then after that, I mean, like contrary to popular belief, I've been pretty successful. And let me stop that, because it ain't popular belief, right? Like I say that, no, but I say that in like a self-deprecating way, but I don't even want to give that necessarily oxygen. Like I've been part of some pretty important things with some pretty important people. And so a lot of people have picked up on what I'm doing, and they stuck around over the years. And can't everybody say that?
It's interesting what you said about if this group of people can withstand the avalanche of content, that it's almost like this selection pressure for people who are really going to be with you no matter what. I feel similarly, where sometimes people say, are you worried that you're going to alienate this or that group of people by what you say? And I've got this sense of, well, I want to be honest with my audience, because then they will be truly my people, right? And I don't want to be caught in that audience capture where suddenly I'm just saying things to project a certain image, and then you get caught in this weird zone where you become this fraud to all the people you're communicating with. And, what do? Either you have to, I guess, change your personality, or just fear that your true self will be found out one day. It's a crazy business we're in, Bomani. It's a very strange one.
I also don't think people are nearly as sensitive as advertised, right? Like you hear all that noise when you say the thing, and I've lost respect for you, and people lose this and da and all that stuff, man. They gonna wind up back, because everybody gonna say something that they don't like at some point. And quietly, and nobody really talks about this, we all know who the panderers are, right? We all know the people who are trying not to offend anybody when they say something or have a particular group that they don't want to offend. And even the people who are really on those teams, they see through that, and they know that it's ridiculous, right? Like everybody knows the score on this, man. Honest, you'll just never convince me that honesty ain't gonna be the winning play.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Maybe you could say that I'm an idealist for thinking that, but I think people can just get a sense of you and your personality when you're communicating in this particular format, and they like falseness rings hollow. It's almost, you can just sense it.